Okay, ZestFesters, we're a few minutes away from 3 o'clock, and our very own Jason Goodman making his Celebrity Chef Stage debut.
I'm very excited about it, Scott. Very excited.
Well, I am thrilled. Jason's got a great story to tell about the infrastructure and the buildup of ZestFest. You'll tell that story. I'm not about to step on it here.
I'll happily tell it. We're all anecdotes and boiling water.
Tell us a little bit about what you're cooking today.
Today I am cooking a noodle dish called Dan Dan Noodles. It's a spicy Szechuan noodle dish, and it's topped with ground pork that is fried up, sauteed up nice and crisp, and it's a beautiful dish. You'd find it a lot in Chinese restaurants in New York, fewer in Chinese restaurants in Fort Worth, and believe me, I Googled just to check whether everybody here in the audience would have already had Dan Dan noodles or whether it might be new to some people.
I thought maybe you were going to say you went out to every Chinese place over the last couple of days and had the buffet.
That was the plan, but it did not come to fruition because I had to get my chicken fried steak in.
Oh, very good. Yeah. Very good.
When in Rome.
I wish you're not making chicken fried steak, by any chance.
I am not making chicken fried steak.
Dan Dan Noodles is what Jason Goodman is making here at ZestFest. We're a few minutes away from Jason taking the stage. You'll want to make your way back to the Celebrity Chef Stage. It's going to be delicious, I have no doubt.
Thank you for that lovely intro. I am excited and look forward to cooking for all of you.
Couple of minutes, get yourself back here to the Celebrity Chef Stage. Jason Goodman, Dan Dan Noodles, here at ZestFest. Celebrity Chef Stage appearance, and let me tell you a little bit about the man that you see before you, along with John Hard, who's going to be assisting. But Jason Goodman stands before you, and I can't give you a curriculum vitae. Thank you. On Jason's culinary school, but I can tell you that he is a genius. He has been involved in finance. He has been involved in magazine publishing, including as the owner and founder of Chili Pepper Magazine, and also in event production. He is, in fact, one of the co-owners of this very ZestFest that you're attending today, so we appreciate that. As well as comic book publishing.
Yeah, we might as well.
Jason's grandfather founded Marvel Comics. You may have heard of them. Jason, I'd like to speak to you about an idea I've got for a character named Spice Man. I'm working on that.
I'm ready.
I'll get with you later on.
Absolutely.
Jason also believes that, let me get mic number 2, that every dish is nothing but a vehicle to deliver flavor. Whether it's bagels or pizza or white bread or anything else, it's delivering flavor, and the flavor is what Jason's all about. I kid around with Jason, but he's a fantastic cook and knows exactly what he's doing. This is his debut as a celebrity chef. So you get to make the ultimate judge. You get to be the Simon Cowell to his Kelly Clarkson, if you'll forgive that tortured metaphor. Would you please welcome from New York City, Jason Goodman, everybody.
Scott, thank you for that beautiful introduction, and thank you all for being at ZestFest and for coming to my debut cooking event. Very excited about this. You might have heard or read somewhere, I'm doing a dish called Dan Dan Noodles, and Dan Dan Noodles are a spicy Szechuan noodle, and it's topped with some seasoned ground pork that I'll get crispy in this saute pan, but it's a lovely dish, and you know, I'm going to be pretty authentic. I don't know if any of you are from the Sichuan province of China. Anybody here from the Sichuan province of China? Okay, so I'm safe. There's nobody that's going to call me an imposter or say that I'm faking it. Are you local? You're all from the Fort Worth area? Where'd you come from? Jersey. Bless you. So you know from Chinese food. How about you? Also Jersey. All right. Any Texans here? Okay, I knew there would be some Texans here.
Plant all these people?
I planted every last one of them. They're going to ask me softball questions. Jason, is it true that you're one of the best chefs in this nation? All sorts of things. They could ask me anything, John. I'm very, very lucky to have my dear friend, Chili Head, ZestFest supporter, man for all. Oh, that's not me. That's you. This is John Hard. Everybody, a round of applause for John.
Thank you.
He just finished his cooking demo, and he's got a couple more coming up, but thank you for being here for support. Amongst my many cooking skills will be the ability to make water boil, but not on command. So that'll take a few more minutes for the noodle part of the dan dan noodles, and I will just keep riffing because otherwise this recipe will be over in like 5 minutes. That's how easy it is to cook for you. And for those of you from the surrounding area in Texas, I did Google dan dan noodle. I Googled all the local Chinese restaurants, and I wanted to see how long it would take for me to scroll through a menu that had dan dan noodles. And I went through about the first 6 or 7 restaurants, and none of them had dan dan noodles on the menu. So, do you know about dan dan noodles? No? Okay, just checking. But I didn't see a lot on local menus, so I thought, okay, maybe that'll be fun to bring forth a recipe that you're probably not having every day. Maybe you're having it in New Jersey. Maybe you're not. I don't know if you're big Chinese food fans like I am. And I will say about this recipe, but I'll tell you as I'm making it, that there's a huge opportunity, as with all recipes, for substitutions. So I'm using ground pork for this because that's how it would traditionally be if you Google dan dan noodles. But if you wanted to substitute, thank you, perfect. If you wanted to substitute ground chicken, ground beef, if you wanted, if you wanted tofu, if you were cooking vegetarian or vegan, all those things are options. It's really just an additive to the noodles to add a little bit of texture and make it a more dynamic dish. But so you've got a lot of variability here. I'm also using these very traditional Asian lo mein type noodles, but it works fine. This recipe will be fine with spaghetti or linguine or whatever you have in your pasta cabinet. So it's very versatile. All the flavor is going to come from the sauce and all the little additions. So you have a lot of flexibility to just, noodles soak up sauce. That's one of the reasons why it's such a fun dish. And you've got that option here. As I said, you don't have to go to go to your Asian market. Not that they won't have these in Central Market, because they do, but you can get them anywhere, and it's going to be a really tasty dish. The water's beginning to prepare to get ready to think about boiling. I don't know if any of you have experienced boiling water, but it's my new challenge for the day. I'm probably going to turn on this burner and start sauteing the ground pork, because that'll probably take a little bit longer than things. So you'll do this on a pretty high heat with a little bit of oil, because pork can tend to be pretty lean. You don't have to add oil to it, but I'll probably put a tablespoon of oil or so into the cooking pan just to get it going. Is one of these things oil?
I think we've got it over here.
Perfect. Thank you, thank you. Let this heat up a little bit and then just squirt a little bit in the pan, just to loosen it up. It's not 100% necessary. I know some people don't like to add oil to their dishes, and again, pork is pretty lean as things go. But come on.
I'll go ahead and put the oil on.
It's happening. I'm used to cooking with a flame, so this is a new experience, but indoors, probably good that we don't have gas and flames, so I'll take that as a win. Thank you, thank you.
Okay, just tell me what you need, and I'll pick it out and hand it to you.
You are
quite
excellent.
A few ingredients over here.
Well, I'm going to start with the pork. So I'm going to saute the ground pork initially before adding all the seasonings into it. Some people would marinate the pork in advance. I tend not to do that because if I'm cooking on high heat, some of the marinades can burn off. So I just do it this way, which, it's the same. I'm sure if a lot of you are doing any type of barbecue or something, if you sauce it up too much, you'll just burn the sauce. So I'm trying to avoid burning any sauce into the ground pork, but it's beginning to prepare to get ready. I want to get it a little bit hotter before we add it. So no, please do.
Ratio of pork to noodles. Is there a magic ratio we're dealing with here, or is it 2 to 1? 3 to 1?
It's really mostly by feel. I mean, most people will probably get the supermarket package of ground pork, which is going to be about 1 pound. And to that, you're probably going to use, it's probably a pound per pack of noodles is roughly a good ratio.
Right.
But that's a good question, and everything is always to taste. But if I were building it for a bunch of people, that's what I would do. I'd probably use a pound of pork and just a whole bag of noodles, whatever vessel they came in. If it was spaghetti, I would just use a box of spaghetti.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate the question. While we're waiting for things to heat up, any other questions about the recipe or how good Chinese food is in New York, or anybody want to tell me what Chinese food's like in Texas? I'm sorry? It's more like Thai food? Oh, interesting. I mean, I've seen a lot of that, and I saw kind of at Central Market, it was a little bit heavier on Thai than it was on Chinese and Japanese, but I'm learning. I'm learning. I had chicken fried steak the other day, so, you know, that was good. Lucille's, it was mighty fine.
Jason, question from the back. Did you
Oh,
salt
please.
the pork or otherwise season the pork before you put it in the saute? Ah,
Yeah.
not yet, but that's going to happen.
No, but a lot of people, as I said, a lot of people would pre-marinate the pork if that was their style. I'm just always nervous about cooking off the marinade or it burning too much because you want to get the pork pretty crispy. This is not a soft, you know, ground pork. You do want to get the crisp because that's going to really balance with the noodles very well. But it's, all right, it's beginning. It's beginning to prepare to get ready to think about being cookable.
Well, the one thing we got to explain to you is this cooktop works for 3 days a year, and then it's not working, is it?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
now it is. The one thing we need to explain about this cooktop is it only works 3 days a year, and then it goes into storage. So it doesn't. You have to prod it a little bit. You have to stick it up high and.
Talk nice to it. You know, you got to, come on, sweetheart, boil that water. It's getting there. It's almost there. Okay, I think we're ready to start adding the pork. Yeah, we got a sizzle, so that means it's happening. This is probably more pork than I need, but yeah, I probably won't. Just so the pan doesn't get overcrowded. Thank you, sir.
Jason, a friend of ours, John Bonnell, who's been at ZestFest for several years, said that is the applause for a cook.
Is
when
the
you put it in the sizzle, that's your applause.
I accept. I'm a little bit new to the kitchen in that regard, but it sounds about right.
If you don't hear it, you're not doing it right.
Yes, good point. You could absolutely use a traditional wok. I just don't always take for granted that most people have one. But you're right, that would be a perfect cooking vessel for this and to do the saucing in the pan and everything. I'm going with the utilitarian skillet, but you're absolutely right, a wok would be fantastic. Now, since this is going to take a few minutes to happen, I'm going to regale you with one of my favorite family stories that's food related. And hopefully you'll have occasion to use this in your life or at least enjoy it. And so I was about 13 years old, and my stepfather came home from a business dinner. And I said, Alan, how was your dinner? And he said, Jason, I had a great dinner. I said, really, what'd you have? He said, I had chicken for the first time. I said, what do you mean you had chicken for the first time? You're in your 50s. I've seen you eat chicken 100 times. He said, no. I thought I had chicken before, but I finally had a chicken that was so delicious that I realized that all the other things I was eating were not really chicken. Now I've had real chicken. And so I said, well, what other foods have you had? He said, well, I don't know. I think I've had lots of foods, but I don't really know. Then that summer, we were at a clam bake, and they had delicious corn, and he came up to me and he said, Jason, I just want you to know I finally had corn. So, I don't know if after today's demonstration you'll be able to say that you finally had Dan noodles, but just think about that as you evaluate the food that you're eating in this world. Have you had the best in class? Have you finally had a chicken fried steak? Have you finally had a good gumbo or etouffee or some other thing? And I will tell you that 44 years later, this anecdote is still working. I told this to a friend of mine in New York City, and I said to her, I said, Gabrielle, I told her the story, and 2 weeks later she calls me and she said, Jason, I just had my first chocolate croissant. And so, and this one I was in a position to verify, so I went out to the same bakery that she had gone to, and let me just tell you, I had my first chocolate croissant at age 57, all physical evidence. I know it looks like I've had a chocolate croissant or two. I thought I had, but I didn't. This pork is coming along. The water's boiled.
You want me to take over there and you start putting this stuff together in the bowl?
Sure, why not? John's
Jason,
keeping me on track.
I talked about your background, which
Sure.
seems like it's in everything except food. So how did you come to be so interested and so into spicy food or cooking in general? And being the culinary bon vivant of New York City, I know you get around the city and try out every new place that comes along.
Well, I'm very fortunate about that. In 2006, I bought Chili Pepper magazine, and I had been trying to buy it for years, but it finally came up for sale, and so I added it to the portfolio of magazines we were publishing at that time. Came to my very first ZestFest and learned all about hot sauce. So there was a time where I thought it was just Tabasco. That's it. You have Tabasco, you put it on things. Well, I didn't know, but the amount that I've learned since 2006 and the number of sauces that I have, I mean, the vendors here are making amazing products, and I hope you've all done some sampling. I did some sampling. If I'm speaking too quickly, it's probably because I'm a little amped up on hot sauce, but I had a few flights of hot sauce tasting, and I'm feeling either over-caffeinated or whatever one gets if they have too much hot sauce. 3-4 hours, I'll probably be able to figure out how to open this bag of noodles without getting them everywhere. Who's got a pocket knife for me? Who's got some? Or is it just a brute force that I should have known?
You know, I think his credentials speak for himself, Scott, because although I've lost a lot of weight, I always said, never trust a skinny cook.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, it's just not as many as you think. That's going to be for the pork. I'm going to use the Red Bull for the... All right, we got some noodles going. Those probably won't take more than a few minutes, hopefully. Typically, if you were doing lo mein noodles, the package would say that it wants about 3 or 4 minutes, but those are the thinner noodles, and that's probably what we're using here. But if you were doing this recipe at home with linguine or spaghetti or other noodles, you just use their cooking time minus a minute or two to keep it al dente, but it's all happening. I'm going to start making the sauce. So there are 2 sauce components. There's the sauce that you're using to sauce the noodles, and then there's the sauce that you're using to season the ground pork, or if you were using any other meat or poultry or whatever it is. So the first sauce that I'm going to do is the part that's for the noodles. And I'm going to make this, I have a favorite. It's a little bit of a list of ingredients in terms of what would normally go into it. So you'd normally be looking at chili oil, soy sauce, sesame paste, ground Szechuan peppercorns, a little bit of sugar, sometimes MSG. I don't add MSG to food because too many people are sensitive to it, and I don't find enough benefit from it. I mean, I'm sure it's what makes my favorite dishes at my local Chinese restaurants the most delicious, and maybe that's just don't ask, don't tell. But I'm not going to add MSG here, and normally I would be chopping a little bit of garlic. But I happen to have a favorite chili crisp. It's called Boone. I wish they were exhibiting here, but they're not. But this sauce I have been buying online for about 6 years, and it's great. I put it on everything. Obviously all of my Asian cuisine, but I'm also putting it on pizza. I'll put it on hummus and chip and dip for a while. All these things, they're all happening. And so this, though, and in general, with some of the chili crisps that you can get, they're already covering you for the crushed up Szechuan peppercorns because that's already in here. You're already getting the garlic in here. You're getting a tiny, tiny pinch of sugar that they're using to balance it out. So for me, this is a slightly easier recipe, thanks, John, than it would have otherwise been because I found a product that I really like. You may have the blessings of such products in your cupboard, you may not. It's a very simple recipe one way or the other because you're really talking about a little bit of sesame paste, which could also be substituted with tahini or even peanut butter. I actually did a trial run at home before I came out here with peanut butter, and it was delicious. As if you were making sesame noodles where you sort of had the peanut butter and a little soy and a little sesame oil, and you were making cold sesame noodles, which probably more of you have had than Dan Dan noodles. But this is sort of a less peanutty but more kicked up version of it. And so I am just going to start adding stuff. So we are going to go with a little bit of soy sauce, a couple of tablespoons worth, which I'm pretty sure I can eyeball, but hey, they gave me a utensil, so why not? Little bit of soy sauce in the bowl. Then, and a spoon. The spoon's going to go all the way in the bowl, so I'm probably going to be pretty messy by the time this happens. And even though my dear friend Michael Vetter in the back tried to give me an apron, I just couldn't handle the encumbrances. I don't, I like to be unrestricted when cooking. Thank you for that. And how's our pork doing, or our noodles? Probably good. Yeah, then we're going to go with a little bit of the, what do we have here? We've got sesame paste here, and again, this could be tahini, this could be peanut butter, depending what you have in your cupboard or where you feel like shopping or where you do your shopping. But we'll go with a couple of tablespoons of that. And that's going to make a nice flavor there, as well as a mess, but the mess is optional. That's just the best I can do. Very thankful to have John here tending this. I probably would have ruined all these things while I was making a sauce. And pardon me, just gonna steal a little. Hand towel is probably my single most important ingredient. It's what I'm cooking. Then I'm going to add some of my Boone sauce, which again encompasses the Szechuan peppercorns, the garlic, tiny little bit of sugar. A little bit of sugar there for you, Miss Texas. Are you going to make this for the boys? Or is it too spicy? Nope.
Jason, with this flavor profile that you're introducing with the seasonings, how hot is this? This looks like it might be heading up.
So the one I'm making is going to be pretty hot because I happen to have brought from home, just based what was on the cupboard, I brought my extra hot chili crisp. But you could get your chili crisp at Trader Joe's or Central Market or anywhere, and it might be a little bit more mild than this. This does not have to be a crazy spicy dish. If you were at a really, really authentic Szechuan cooking restaurant, you might find that they're using Szechuan peppercorns in a way that will actually numb your tongue. This will not happen. You will all be fine, and this recipe, which, you'll get the one that's cooked by actual professionals behind me. Dana, wherever you are, thank you. So we're putting about a quarter cup here of, this is going to be chili oil and chili crisp, kind of all merged into one. And I will do some messy stirring. Where do we put discards here? Hold on, I'll find a place to, do we have a spare bowl to throw discarded? I'll take one of those. Oh, and I just need to put my utensils somewhere. No, that was perfect, I just needed it. All right, so I'm stirring the sauce together, and you can see it's coming together as if you were having sesame noodles, cold sesame noodles, but it's much spicier and super delicious. I'm super happy with the way this is looking. It's going to be very, very tasty. So that is coming together. How are the noodles doing?
They're done.
They're done? All right. Then we're not going to waste any time getting the noodles all positioned. So we're just going to use the bowl that I've made the sauce in, and we're going to go straight in with the noodles. Thank you so much for helping out, John. I could not do this without you.
Don't worry about getting them all.
All righty. All right, that's perfect. That is perfect. So now you can see we've got the noodles in a sauce. I'm going to give it a toss. Everybody likes to construct this differently. Sometimes they like to put the pork on and then toss everything. Oh, thank you. That's going to help. But this is all coming together. It's already smelling great. I know you probably can't smell it from where you're sitting, but it is, it's coming together really well. That is nice and tossed. Very happy with it. Now we're going to move over to finish our pork. Is this 100% off the heat at this point? Or, all right. All right, so I'm going to turn the heat back on actually, and just do a little final crisp up and add the other ingredients to this. No, this one will be fine. Yeah, that one will be fine. All right, so I'm going to finish up the ground pork, which mercifully I have company in the kitchen here in the form of expert chef Cajun. Otherwise, who knows what destruction could have befallen this dish. But the pork is coming along nicely. I'm going to start to add some of the ancillary things that you would put in the pork. So using a little Chinese cooking wine. It's just a very small splash of it, and if you didn't have it, it's not tragic. If you're not using alcohol, it's not tragic. And if you only have something like a cooking sherry in the house, you could also substitute that. So it's going to be pretty easy. So I'll just put a little dash of that in for flavor, maybe too much, who knows. It's I am not one of these cooks who says, oh, too much wine, one swig for me, one swig for the pot. But maybe there's still hope for me. There's still hope. Ooh, let's turn this one off before I, thank you. Just putting a little light soy in. What? No, I will not touch the handle. Thank you. All right, so we've got some of the soy and some of the cooking wine in here with the ground pork, and I'm just going to let it cook up and all marry together. Now, some recipes are usually adding a little bit of sweetness to the pork to kind of balance out the dish a lot. Some people use hoisin sauce, and that's totally, thank you, that's a totally fine thing to do, to use hoisin sauce. Some people just add a little bit of sugar if they want. I happen to have found a nice little plum hot sauce. So it's got some sweetness and it's got some heat, because we are at ZestFest, and it's all about the heat. So this is from our friends at, where are our friends from? These are from our friends at Pucker Butt, but this is the plum hot sauce, and I'm just going to throw a little in to keep it interesting. That should be enough. A gentle pour. Apparently my version of a splash when it comes to cooking is a little bit aggressive. But this will all marry together. Are we on high for this?
I would say about a teaspoon. I would say about a teaspoon is what you put there.
That is what should.
And that's good.
Yeah, that's what should be there. I'm kind of gilding the lily because we've already got the chili oil on the noodles that's going, and I decided that the pork needed to be extra spicy as well. But again, a lot of people would go sweeter in the pork. While I'm doing this, are there any questions, comments? Feel free to shout it out. Or. Yeah, so there's 5 spice in the chili crisp that I'm using. It's not in all of them, so that's a very good question. And the team behind me that makes this all supportive has done the 5 spice out for me. I could do a little sprinkling on the pork just to keep it going. But you're absolutely right. That would be one of the most traditional Chinese things. There's so many wonderful prepared sauces that are, artisanal and really just made with love and from scratch, like all of the vendors here. And so that's not just making it easy, but it's you're going to find so many choices of flavors, and it's. That's what happened to me with Boone sauce. I fell in love with this sauce. I just put it on everything. Not that there aren't other great things for dumplings or, lo mein or on pizza, but once you find one, once you find a sauce, you just want to put it on everything. I've never done it with the seafood. I think it probably would be great. If you were doing it in the dish like this, I'd probably say, oh, shrimp is the logical one because it sautés up, so nicely. But I would imagine you could use just about everything. I've never thought of it as something where I would do a filleted fish, but I suppose you could. You would just be doing kind of an Asian seasoned filleted fish and doing it on top of some really great spicy noodles. So that is absolutely, a way to go. It's not one I've thought of yet, but if you go to Trader Joe's and you buy a bag of their Argentinian shrimp and you just, you do that up in a pan. I've done that with a lot of Korean sauces and other stuff. It's just a good way to be. Okay. All right, we're nearly done here. In fact, I think we should call it nearly done. So I'll take that out. We've got our really pretty noodles here, which have been nicely sauced up. I'm going to add the seasoned ground pork to it, which can be as crispy as you like or as uncrispy as you like. I won't cook it to death here just because, we'd be here for a while. But you can chop it and get it super, super fine. But this is fundamentally what you're looking at before I garnish with some peanuts or some green stuff. Obviously, if you have a nut allergy, don't do it. If I were being super official about this and wanted to use the bok choy, I would probably just use the pasta water I had, throw in a little bok choy after I remove the pasta, and then you'd have some blanched bok choy around it. I'm not going to make you guys eat your greens, but that's that's everybody's personal thing. But this is fundamentally what Dan Dan noodles look like and taste like. And whenever Dana says she's ready, she's ready. I probably have some peanuts or something around here to add. Oh, yes, I do. Okay, so for show, I'll sprinkle some peanuts. They're not going to call me Peanut Bay or whatever those, fancy chefs are. Just a nice boy from the Upper West Side of Manhattan. But, yeah, that's it. Dan Dan noodles.
Fantastic, Jason. Thank you. It
Jason.
smells amazing. ZestFesters, thank you for coming out.
Thank you all very much.
Jason Goodman. We have our sampling station. Chef Dana is ready to go. You can do your sampling. One more time about a big hand for Jason Goodman, everybody.
Thank you all. Thank you. Woohoo. Thanks to K-John. Everybody, thanks to K-John. Couldn't do it without him.